as I've been combing through the latest dump of Epstein files, which is why I'm up in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, talking to you all. Oh, by the way, I like to use jmail.world. It basically turns the format of Gmail into a search engine for the Epstein files. I find it far easier to use and far more functional than the government DOJ website when it comes to searching through these documents and photos and everything. Anyway, as I'm looking through all of this, as I'm combing through everything, it's like I have a split screen in my head. Remember when those first came out on TV? You could have the like image within an image and watch two shows at once. It's sort of what it's like in my brain. So I'm looking through these documents, and there's two videos that play on a loop in my head. And the more documents I look through and the more these videos play on a loop, the angrier and angrier I get. And so I'm not trying to make you angry, to piss you off as much as I'm pissed off, although really we all should be horrified and enraged at what our government is covering up, has allowed to transpire for years and years when they knew about it. And now Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, Republicans, Mike Johnson especially, are actively engaged in a cover-up of this material. Yeah, we should all be pretty fucking mad about it. Okay, before I go on a rant, I want to play both of those clips for you and then provide some context, because I think both of these help illustrate two of the reasons why we are in, well, it's one reason, but like, you know, two sides of the same coin as to why we are in this position now, as to why Jeffrey Epstein was allowed to get away with this, why all of these powerful, wealthy men have been able to victimize women and girls and boys for so long, and also why this is not unique. It's done maybe on a scale that is something we've never envisioned before, but in the history of human beings and in the history of the United States, this is not unique. Okay, here we go. First clip is Todd Blanche.
You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused the young women through Epstein's,
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them, right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women. If we learn about information and evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women, unfortunately.
Fuck you, Todd Blanche. Fuck you. All of these fuckers, no, they know what's in there. They have seen the unredacted files. The fact that members of Congress are seeing half of the Epstein files, and of those, 70%, 70 to 80%, we're hearing from Ro Khanna and Jamie Raskin today. 70 to 80% of what they are supposed to be shown unredacted is still redacted. And even that 20% of the 50%, so 10% of the material that they're just starting to comb through is so horrific, and so obviously shows that there were crimes committed against women and children. That reporter, I appreciate them asking the question, but how quickly they flipped from saying children, kids, to saying women. These crimes were committed against little girls, yes, adult women, yes, little girls and little boys. And boy, Todd Blanche very quickly took up that like women, there's no evidence of anything against women. One, we have the testimony of so many of Epstein's victims. Like, I understand a number of them were children when this happened to them. Right? This clip keeps playing in my head because when I'm reading through documents, yeah, some stuff is like anonymous tips. There's various levels of like how credible it is. Some of it is like court documents, sworn statements to the FBI, right? We're not talking anonymous rumors. We're talking evidence. We have the Epstein victims who want to testify, who have given testimony to members of Congress. And for Todd Blanche to be like, we don't have any evidence of crimes. We're going to case closed. We're not going to prosecute anybody. It's an obvious, massive fucking cover-up. Why is corporate legacy media? Well, we know why. Why are they not covering this? Why are they barely skirting over this issue? Other governments are covering this. Other governments are actively investigating what is going on. And here in the United States, they're lying to our faces about the crimes that have been committed. And they're trying to say case closed and move on. Because Donald Trump has been mentioned. We heard today from Jamie Raskin that Donald Trump is mentioned more than 1 million times in the Epstein files. 1 million. Originally it was 38,000. Now that we have more unredacted information, 1 million times. But no investigation. No investigation. They want to call the Clintons up to testify behind closed doors in front of Congress. Only Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in prison, but Donald Trump is mentioned more than 1 million times. And we get what? Todd Blanche wanting to close the investigation and move on. Okay, here's the second clip.
That's a very specific illicit desire to want underage people.
Well,
how do you even find out that someone's into that?
Well, I don't think that the majority or anything close to it of the women were technically, I think it was largely
young.
very young, barely legal, so to speak. But and I know that there were cases of underage, but I think
most of it was just
very, very young, but not like
20-year-old
not
girls,
like
18-year-old
type
girls.
thing. And then, remember, because this is an international enterprise, and many of the clients are like, in countries that don't necessarily have the same norms about that that we do. You can very easily see someone getting involved in that just because girls juice deals.
And fuck you, Joe Rogan, and whoever your apologist for PDF files was that you had on there. Underage women, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. They're children. They're children. Barely legal children juicing deals. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Also, complete fabricated bullshit that there's hardly any children in there. Jamie Raskin earlier today said,
I think that the Department of Justice has been in a cover-up mode for many months and has been trying to sweep the entire thing under the rug. I'm just afraid that the general coarsening and degradation of American life has somehow conditioned people not to take this as seriously as we should be taking it. I mean, it's an incredibly serious thing. When you read through these files and you read about 15-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 10-year-old girls, I saw a mention of a 9-year-old girl today. I mean, this is just...
We are in this position now. This crime has gone on so long. The cover-up is so big because men protect other men. Perpetrators protect other perpetrators. PDF files, they all love to kind of party together, right? Look at Donald Trump and the fact that he loves to surround himself with men who end up being charged and convicted for sexual assault, trafficking children, kidnapping children. Look at all. Jeffrey Epstein was his best friend. We're in this position because men in government like Todd Blanche are denying justice, protecting PDF files. Mike Johnson, other Republicans, powerful men in government are protecting PDF files. And then we have Joe Rogan. We have conservative men who are likewise, in their own way, not through the levers of government, but through social media influencing, through crafting a narrative that normalizes adult men preying on women and girls, trafficking, sexually abusing women and children, minimizing the harm that has been done. They're allowing them to get away with it. They're facilitating them getting away with it. Any man who is not outspokenly against these crimes, any man who's trying to minimize the harm or trying to prevent an investigation and justice from being enacted, immediate red flag to me. Immediate red flag. That's a guy who's into kids. That's a guy who's into diddling kids. He would like to, or he has a vested interest in protecting men who do. And I saved this for the end here, just a couple of images. The faces are obviously blurred out, and there were multiple other ones that were worse. They're obviously children. This is a pattern throughout our history. Men protecting other men. Men who want to be these powerful men and do these kinds of crimes, protecting the men who do them. Like recognizes like, PDF files defend PDF files. It is going to be my default assumption from now on. If you are a man and you are not outspokenly working for justice, your silence has told us who you are.